Okay, so there's a lot of great bosses in Elden Ring, right? This guy, and that's about it. Okay, put down your pitchforks, I'm just kidding. There are some more cool bosses than that, but I gotta say, after Morgott, the boss quality just takes a cryptocurrency nosedive. And you've heard me bitch and moan about the bosses in my The Problem with the Endgame video, but this time around, we're going to be listing out what I think are the top 5 worst bosses in all of Elden Ring. Some of you might be pretty surprised by this list, because after watching Democracy's Best Bosses video, I have quite the differing opinion. Without further ado, let's get right into number 5. Number 5, the Regal Ancestor Spirit. Any boss that has healing mechanics within any game will always piss me off. Melania's lifesteal was something I thought was a bit BS, but at least there's a way to prevent it. Just don't get hit. But with the Reindeer Spirit, that's what we're calling this guy now, there's literally no way to stop him from healing. He'll just let you whittle him down to about 25% health before performing this weird move where he consumes the spirits of the deer around him and it fully heals his entire health bar. Not to mention his model is super weird because he has these super narrow legs while his torso is way above you, so some of your attacks just straight up won't register because his hurt box is super wonky. And if you don't know what a hurt box is, Ingenious Clown Gaming, explain it away.
The distinction is the portion of the weapon that collides with the enemy is the hitbox, and the portion of the enemy that gets hit by the weapon is the hurt box.
I would literally have him so close to death and he'd randomly want to heal, so I'd be panicking to try and kill him, but he would out-heal my damage and heal multiple times throughout the fight, and it's so frustrating that there's no way to stop it other than to just kill him before he does his heal move again. And if him healing weren't bad enough, you actually get damaged if you're too close to him while he's healing, so good luck trying to damage him since he might kill you in the process. Then there's the fact that he loves to teleport across the map and have you run at him constantly because of course they're gonna disable the use of torrent during this fight. It's a common theme with a lot of the bosses in this game. They love to run away from you the moment you want to deal damage, so that you have to chase them down because the devs disabled torrent, which is the only great counter to this, and just rinse and repeat. Honestly, all in all, what an annoying boss. There's nothing particularly difficult about this boss either. His attacks are easy to dodge, there's nothing that really insta-kills you, and his teleporting I can deal with. It's just the fact that he heals and can also damage you while healing that's really bullshit. Get rid of the damage while healing, or even just the healing in general, and this fight would be 10 times better for it. Because the atmosphere of this boss is really cool, as well as the music and the design of this boss. But again, his healing with no way to stop it, combined with the fact that he's a reskin of another boss that's basically the same thing, just more annoying, puts this boss at the number 5 spot. I also forgot to mention the way you access this boss is super tedious. You have to run around the area that he's in, lighting all these different torches placed in these very specific areas. All the while, these guys with bows and arrows are shooting these super accurate-ass arrows at you that don't seem to ever miss. It's just not a good time. And the fact that you access both variations of this boss the exact same way is just another reason why I wanted this boss in my top 5. Number 4. Crucible Knight / Crucible Knight Ordovis. Now first, let's just talk about the Crucible Knight by himself. This boss by itself really isn't that bad, at least in my opinion. Other people seem to have had some trouble staggering him with his poise and whatnot, but I don't know, if you learn his attack animations, roll through them, look for parry opportunities, and retaliate, you'll take him down pretty easily. His stomp can be a little annoying, but outside of that, I personally didn't have too much trouble with this boss. The reason this guy is in the number 4 spot in the first place is because you don't just fight this guy one time. Considering there's a 25-minute video of all the Crucible Knight locations in Elden Ring, holy Jesus Batman, I'd say that's more than enough for this guy to earn the number 4 spot. If you didn't like fighting him enough in the Stormhill Evergale, he's also in Redmane Castle, along with the Misbegotten Warrior, another reused boss, as a duo fight. Oh, wow, great. We love duo fights in this game, don't we, guys? But then, not only that, there's a duo Crucible Knight fight too. The pinnacle of all Crucible Knight fights, really, to be honest with you. I mean, from how creative. Remember when I mentioned his moveset really isn't that bad? Well, when there's two of them, that doesn't really apply as much. One of them uses the spear variation, while the other uses the sword and shield combination, and overall it's just the same old Crucible Knight fight, just twice as annoying. Not to mention all the areas they sprinkle Crucible Knights in throughout the game as mini-bosses that are just as obnoxious. I've seen enough Crucible Knights to last me a lifetime, so here you go, Crucible Knight, take the number 4 spot. Number 3, Fire Giant. Now, I'm pretty sure this one was on Democracy's top 10 best bosses, but woohoo, I could not disagree more. I absolutely hated this fight, and it'd be damn near number 1 if it weren't for the fact that there are worse bosses than this, if you can believe that. This fight sucks for a multitude of reasons. One, the camera is an absolute shit show. You need to focus on his legs, but his attacks come from up above you because, well, he's a giant, so half the time you're getting hit by attacks you can't actually see. This boss also has an enormous amount of health, so you will be chipping away at him pixel by pixel until he finally dies. His second phase, though, is why he's number 3. Every time you get a decent opening to get some attacks in during his second phase, he'll just roll across the entire map away from you so that you have to chase him down again while he spams fire magic at you, and this is just classic Elden Ring boss design at this point. At least this time you have Torrent, which is nice, but then again, being on Torrent during this fight is an absolute death wish because he can combo Torrent into death with his magic, and then you're stuck writhing around on the ground until he puts you out of your misery. I killed him by solely attacking his legs, which keeps you away from most of his attacks because you're behind him instead of in front of him, and that's definitely not how this fight was supposed to be done, but it was the most reliable way to take the stupid giant down. And for that, take the number 3 spot, stupid giant. You earned it. Number 2, God-Awful Duo. I know what you guys are saying. Only number 2? Yeah, that's how stupid this fight is. If you hadn't encountered the nobles throughout your playthrough enough, Miyazaki wanted to give you a warm welcome by having them both face you at the same time. But this time with a twist. They respawn after you kill them like you're playing Call of Duty. Is this game not called Elden Ring? I'm not playing a first-person shooter, right? When I kill things, especially bosses, they're supposed to stay dead. Well, as long as I don't sit at a site of grace, right? Well, no, those rules fly out the window for this boss, and it feels incredibly lazy, to say the least. Sure, you can put one of them to sleep, so you can fight the nobles the way they're supposed to be fought, you know, one-on-one, but I don't care. Ornstein and Smo was a 2-on-1 fight too, and you couldn't put one of them to sleep, but the fight was way cooler because killing one actually mattered and made their second phase different depending on who you killed. Again, I go into detail with this in my endgame bosses video, so if you haven't checked that out yet, you should. All in all, these bosses were rehashed and the team was clearly running out of money and time, so they said screw it, let's throw in a duo fight to really give them a bad time, and for that, Miyazaki, the Fat Skin Noble and Godskin appallingly terrible boss earn number 2 on this list. Number 1, the Elden Beast. Now notice I'm only saying the Elden Beast, and not Radagon. Radagon was a dope-ass fight in my opinion. His attacks are well telegraphed, he teleports all over the place, but in a badass way, not an annoying way because he doesn't have you chasing him down, it's just a way for him to just look cool as hell. And overall, you become better and better at his fight until you're able to make it to the second phase with ease. With that being said, his second phase is where it all falls apart. Man, this boss sucks, especially considering that this is the final boss of Elden Ring, and this is how it caps off the journey. This boss has the same problem as the Fire Giant and Reindeer Spirit. He loves to move across the map whenever you get close enough to attack, and you don't get to close the distance as easily because, of course, they disabled Torrent. Surprise, surprise, everybody! And what does the Elden Beast get to fire off at you as you desperately run toward him? Well, it's light magic this time instead of fire magic. It's like he's a cowboy in an old western with a gun pointed at you, and he goes, dance for me, baby, woo! And you're just sitting there jumping around, one foot then the other, looking like a complete asshole. The Elden Stars is by far his most obnoxious move. You know, in speedruns, if you're attempting a no-hit run, the strategy is literally to kill the Elden Beast before he performs that move, because if he does it, you're absolutely boned, and your no-hit run is over. I feel like there's always been a lot of pride surrounding these games and that they're so well created that you can do the whole game without getting hit or at level 1 or all these other crazy challenges. But with this boss and this game especially, I feel like there's a slight exception. If the Elden Stars weren't enough, he can fire off these beams of light that chase you down while also charging up his sword beams, and you can't roll and sprint at the same time in this game, so, yeah, you're getting hit. All in all, just not a very fun boss and a terrible way to cap off what is mostly a pretty epic journey. And for that, the Elden Bitch gets the #1 spot on our top 5 worst bosses list. And I'm sure some of you might be surprised I didn't put Radahn #1 because as you all know, I freaking hated that boss fight when I first fought him. But with time, I've come to appreciate Radahn a little bit more. I still don't like him that much, but I don't think he deserves a spot on the top 5 worst bosses list. Maybe an honorable mention. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully some of you in the comments didn't get your panties in a twist over this video. I'm sure I'll be making a top 5 best bosses in Elden Ring soon, so the praise will be coming. Regardless, let's say 500 likes and I'll do top 5 most difficult bosses in Elden Ring. That's gonna be it for this one though, boys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.